gosh, I've got absolutely loads to tell you. So I've been rather remiss of late doing my podcasts. I don't think I've podcasted for about a month. How time flies when you're busy. So loads and loads of things happened, but mostly the most exciting thing is going back to uni in September. So I've got a while to sort out the intricacies of being a student and an old lady all at the same time. So, I mean, I suppose I'll have to start using backpacks and stuff, won't I? I don't know. I'm being a bit silly about it, but a backpack fits all those books in, does it not? And all your paraphernalia and, I mean, I take backpacks when I go drawing sometimes. I've got this massive one that I bought on Temu, and it fits an A3 sketchbook in it. It's quite flat. And it's absolutely amazing for all sorts of, really big stuff. And when you're an artist, or as I am about to be in September, a luthier, or as I've heard it pronounced Luthier, but I feel a bit knobbish if I say that. So I'm going to stick to luthier, okay, for now, until maybe I've started the course and everyone's saying Luthier and I don't feel so knobbish. I don't think they will say that. Anyway, in case you don't know what a luthier is, it's somebody who makes musical instruments. So I applied for this course at Westdean College, and I've got in. And it's only, I got in January. I found out a couple of weeks ago, but I've been crazy busy since for various reasons. I'll talk about those. I went last year to London, somewhere near Bloomsbury. The Westdean College have a Bloomsbury site as well. I think it was around there. I can't remember where I got off the I can't remember where I actually got off the train. It was next to the Royal College of Dance, though, so wherever that is. And it was a drawing course, an anatomy drawing course. And I sort of went there, had to travel all the way to London. Now, remembering I live in a peninsula, I have to get a ferry. Oh, cats just jumped over the microphone. I have to walk to the ferry now because I've sold my bike, my push bike. Walk to the ferry, get on the ferry, pay for the ferry, which hurts, very expensive. I remember when it was 50p. It's £5.50 now. I mean, we start moaning about prices, do we not, when we get past a certain age, because we remember in pennies and now it's pounds. And I mean, that's on the way to a tenner. Once you're past the £5 mark, you're marching fairly swiftly towards a tenner to get a boat that, the journey's 7 minutes. I just think, gosh, it's awfully expensive. But only because I'm comparing it to 50p when I was, about 18. It was so cheap, ridiculously cheap. Anyway, we used to go over to Portsmouth and flirt with sailors. It was great fun. Obviously, Portsmouth's a naval base. Well, not obviously. If you're listening in America, you wouldn't know that. So Portsmouth Harbour it's a big Navy base and heritage sort of place, full of Navy stuff. Just Navy. My dad was in the Navy. It was just annoying, actually. By the time I was 18, I was so sick of the Royal Navy. And it just happens that I went away for years and I've come back and there's more Royal Navy everywhere I look. A lot smaller, the defence, than it used to be when I was a young girl. Anyway, digressing as usual. So I've been perusing for art courses, more just to hone my craft. I mean, I've been a practising artist for a very long time, but I thought, well, maybe I should try some different methods and things like that. So, it's really hard to get a life model, and there are no life modelling classes here in the place that I live, okay? So I thought, well, I'll go to this anatomy thing and see what it's like. So by the time I got there, it was about £100 just in travel. And the actual course, I think, was 150. So for 3 hours of drawing, it was £250, which is just, ridiculously expensive. But what it did do, and it's only ridiculously expensive, by the way, if you have the travel on top of it. And because I had to travel so far, it was almost as expensive as the course. And you need to factor that in, really, if you're looking for a cost-effective solution. And my cost-effective solution is to go there full-time. It cost me thousands and thousands of pounds because I can't get a grant. So I cannot get, and I'm not doing drawing, by the way, I'm doing musical instrument making. But it gave me, this course up in London gave me a taste of West Dean College, and it was very, very exciting, guys. And I thought, it's just so lovely here. The vibe. You've got the vibe. I wasn't in the grounds, but I got the vibe at this studio in town in London. And so then I started looking at the other stuff they did. And I was looking for something musical because obviously I'm a musician. And at this point, I think I had just bought my double bass and my viola. One's acoustic, one's electric. And then I really started to Google violas. And then I found the viola d'amore, which is an old Baroque viola with sympathetic strings going underneath. So basically, if that sounds complicated, all you need to know is it sounds like a bunch of angels singing, right? And then I was at auction and I was bidding on one, and I bid up to £3,000, and it went for 3,200 because I was out for coffee with Mum, and I wasn't keeping an eye on bids. Otherwise, I would have upped my bid. But I don't know what this person paid for it. I don't know how much this person would have paid for it. He or she might have gone on to 4,000 or 5,000. So my maximum comfort was £3,000. Anyway, I lost it. So then I started thinking, well, what about if I made one? Because remembering, Blink Friction, which is my new recycle business, is all about recycling and making from old things. Now, you wouldn't use old wood necessarily to build a new viola d'amore, but you would use an old pattern. It's a very old instrument, and you would stay truthful to the instrument. And you could look for, woods that were environmentally purposed, whatever that could mean, etc., etc. So I started looking at that, and then I saw they did this course. Then I went to the open day. And by this time, I'm completely and utterly seduced by the wonder of this place. Absolutely thrilling to be there in the environment, not even talking about the vibe of, crafting and arts, really arts and crafts, book binding, book making, clock making, repair and refurbishing, arts and in the fine art sense. Textiles. I mean, their textiles look absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I'd love to do all the degrees, actually. I'd love to do them all. Anyway, I had to channel my excitement in the vibe, but also in the environment. And I'm really into the environment. And with my photography, I just like going places. I like feeling my feet on the ground, and I like being grounded. And I get a lot of pleasure from the history of the world, the history of man, and the history of the universe that I can feel under my feet, even if it's modern. The other day I was taking photographs in Portsmouth Harbour. The Hard, they call it. It's where, it's been the town planning has done its bit, as it were, and everything's. They had these wonderful benches made out of blocks of sort of. Well, I don't know if it was concrete. It was polished concrete, maybe. And I just thought that's a really nice man-made touch to this ancient port with the Victory and, is it the Warrior? James Warrior, I think, in the background. Oh, it's really interesting, that. I forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, so I went and, the gardens. So they have this garden at West Dean, right? And I saw it the other day when I went for my interview, and it's because it's winter, it's quite sort of barren looking. But you could see the structure of everything, the trees and the lines, and it's very manicured. And I sort of thought, well, that this is this thing, isn't it, with man and what he does with nature and found objects and seeds and grass and buildings. I really love that. I'm so into that. And it makes me feel, I suppose, it references the control we have over creating our own environment that is suitable for us to live in. and engaging gently with the universe, you know. I love that. So I was walking through this garden and I was just captivated. There were a couple of snowdrops and a couple of bluebells just starting, you know, because we've had quite a mild winter. And it was just exhilarating, even in the middle of winter, January, you know. Absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. I really, really did. Anyway, I had my interview, which, you know, you can never say you've got in until you've got in. And I thought I'm probably going to have to wait weeks and weeks, you know, to find out, because I was probably the first interview and, there's probably going to be loads of, you know, there are only 6 places on my course. But the interesting thing was, I think, when I was younger and applying to university, there were real nerves, but now there wasn't. I wasn't nervous, guys, because I'm 63 and there's no room for nerves when you're 63. Not really. You know, it's a different approach to life, which is, oh gosh, the cat's tail's just gone past my little toothpick. There we go. I've got this Persian cat. I had a toothpick in my hand and it got stuck in its tail. Anyway, you can never be, you know, you have that little hope in your stomach. But I don't think at 63 you could be nervous like that. We're more nervous now about a cancer check, aren't we? We can get quite nervous about that because we're marching towards death at a rate of knots, seemingly. Certainly much faster than when we were very young. So I wasn't nervous, and I thought, you know what? I thought, if this is meant to be, it's going to happen for me. That's what I figured. And it was a very comforting feeling, actually, because because I'd got myself into that view of the world and that sort of looking at it through that lens. It made me very calm about, if I didn't get in, I would understand that it wasn't my purpose. Do you see what I mean? And that the universe had a different purpose for me. Now, look, I'm not, I promise you, I don't have crystals and I'm not hippy-dippy. I'm not like that at all. But I do believe when you're a certain type of person and you're very set in your personality, you're very comfortable in your own skin and you know who you are, when you present yourself to people who are interviewing you and, you know, looking at you and understanding that you are comfortable with who you are, as it were, they can judge if you're going to fit in or not. So if I hadn't have got in, I would have thought, well, I clearly wasn't right for them. I didn't have the right vibe. I didn't have maybe the right, the right vibe for West Dean College. So anyway, I was expecting to wait quite a long time, but 2 days later I got my results, my confirmation letter. So they welcomed me with open arms. Well, they didn't say that. They said, "We are delighted to offer you a place," which to me translated is welcoming with open arms. You know, I mean, before January is out, I have secured my place. So I had to pay a little bit, very small amount to keep that place open. I guess, you know, they have to know if people are serious. And so I did that. And I've filled in a couple of bursary and scholarship applications. But if I don't get any financial help, there is Plan B. Now, I don't qualify for government funding because I've already got a degree and a master's. So I've had all the funding from the UK government that they're prepared to give me. So, you know, now we're in grown-up territory. So failing my application for, you know, financial help, I've set up an eBay shop, Blink Friction, and I'm selling all my reclaim prints and stuff. So we'll be talking about that later, and I'm doing workshops after my eye surgery, because I'm having some eye surgery. So after that, in about 5 weeks, I'm also going to be doing live art workshops, which will be a membership thing, like £3 a month, really cheap. So this is my fund for uni. Do you see what I mean? So yeah, join me. I've got so much to tell you. There's loads and loads of things, really exciting things happening in my world at the moment, and for us oldies that I can share with you.